Welcome back to the One Line Away podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tyler Weber.
And this is Cassie Weber. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about when infertility gets weaponized. We've both experienced times where our infertility journey has been used against us, almost as a weapon. And we know others that are tuning into this probably have too. And we want to talk about what that looks like, why it happens, and how we can protect ourselves from that. So when we say when your infertility is weaponized, we're talking about the moments when someone takes the most painful parts of your journey or vulnerable experiences or uses it to hurt you, whether it's intentionally or not. That's what that looks like. I think this can happen and be experienced in different areas. It could be in relationships, that's friendships, family, that could be in your workforce. And of course in society. And you can definitely weaponize your journey like internally. I think this topic specifically is something that is a little bit more like, there just feels like there's a more serious tone to it, and that is intentional. And I think if you're in any kind of, really this can happen at any point in your journey, whether you know it or recognize it right when it happens, or if it's later on. These are things that can be very damaging and very critical when you're going through something like this.
Yeah, they take a toll after a while. Especially when you hear the same comment like over and over, you're like, all right. First 2 times you can laugh it off, but the 9th time you're like, all right.
Enough is enough.
This is enough,
yeah.
For sure.
I hate to say it, but I think I could sit here and tell story after story after story of things that have felt like our journey has been weaponized or used against us, or has been like low blow type of feeling, or been a low blow type of feeling towards us in our walk and what we've been through. But I think, like, for an example, there is nothing more distasteful and uncomfortable than when your voice is taken away when someone tells your story when you're not in the room, or when someone or a group of people take your journey and use it as a shield for their benefit. And I think that that's something that is very, like, it's disgusting when someone takes something so fragile, like an infertility journey or a loss journey, any way that you want to put it. There is nothing more disgusting than when someone uses that as a way to almost try to take power over you. And we'll get into how you get your power back and how you protect yourself from things like that later in the episode. But I think as a general story or a general relation, that would be something that I take so seriously. I think that's what's tricky about a journey like this, in choosing to talk about it or not talk about it, or be public about it or not, is like, you want to be open, but when your openness is turned against you, it's damaging. And it's why so many people carry fear or carry that weight. They carry that weight alone so much in this specific world because of things just like that. When you're not consenting to someone speaking on your behalf, or however you want to word it.
When you experience something along the lines of this, especially your infertility story, just being weaponized against you, at first you feel like, okay, maybe I could talk about it until it is used against you. And like that first time that it's used against you, or put in a way that like brings you down or something like that, it hits hard. I think the first time's the hardest. So then obviously it shuts you down quick. Mm-hmm. And it makes you not want to talk about it to people, because then in any moment you're like, oh gosh, could something be said? And it's such a fragile topic to begin with, that once one thing gets said, even if it's in like the lightest, most joking manner that there is, it's so like, it makes it just shut you down right away. Like, I've had moments like that where people have, they make the comments of, you're like, oh, well, it looks like you don't have swimmers, or like something like that. And you're like, all right, well, I'm just not going to bring this up again, because people, especially guys, will try to just make jokes about it. And you're like, okay, there's like times to joke, and I'm a very joking person. But then there's also times where I'm just like, I'm not going to talk about this kind of stuff. Because then if it's just going to like be made into a joke, which like 98% of the time I appreciate.
Right.
But when it comes to this kind of topic, it's just something that it's just been so long and such a dark moment for us for like this amount of time that it's just not even worth trying to bring it up to even, have a moment with it. Like I just want to make sure that I don't have to deal with the joking part of it, because that stuff does hurt after a while.
Yeah. I think it says a lot too about the people that do weaponize a journey like this, is either they just have straight up zero consideration for a struggle that they've never walked or never will have to walk. And I think that there's so many like little like bits and pieces to it, but ultimately I just think it mirrors a lot to that type of person who either, whether that's like hatred or insecurities, or
and sometimes it's not even, they think that it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it last podcast where it's when we say like people don't take infertility, who've never been through it, they don't take it as serious as what it really is.
Yeah.
Those kind of comments to them are just like whatever. So when you say weaponize, right, if they're like, oh, if I ever said something like that, like I thought I just said it as a joke. To you, it probably was a joke.
Right, yeah.
But to us, it's like you have a sledgehammer and you're smoking us in the face with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I mean, weaponize sounds harsh, but when you've been going through it as long as some people have, and like you say those kind of jokes to people that you normally joke with, maybe after a while, if they don't laugh anymore. Yeah. Like, the infertility, like what you go through during this is just something that, like I said, people never go through. So they don't understand. They're like, dude, you can't have a baby, like whatever. Yeah. Like, okay. But they don't understand like the actual toll that it takes on you.
Yeah. And I think that that's when in turn it's just like going back to like being sensitive towards someone's journey, because the feeling of your journey being used against you or being a way to gain malicious hierarchy. Yeah, that was good. That was good. But like gaining that over someone in general with life things, it could be just random, like a random just life thing. But you have this couple that's struggling with something so deeply, whether publicly or not, but for us, it's public. I still think that doesn't allow someone to take your voice and be like, oh, well, since you talk about it and you're open about it, it gives me the green flag to just do as I want, do as I wish, say as I wish, share it with whoever. I think that that's so misunderstood. I think something that I've learned and I have continued to be like reminded in learning, I don't have to share everything with everyone. Not every person earns the access to my most vulnerable parts of our journey. And I think that if you're tuning into this episode, I think that that's something to take from this is no matter if you share publicly or if you are dealing with this alone, no matter what insecurity or whatever is currently going on in your journey, not everyone is valuable enough to receive such a vulnerable spot from your heart. And I don't mean that to sound any type of way other than what it is. Like you don't owe anyone anything, especially in a journey like this. A lot of things go haywire. You fall in so many different ways that you never thought you would, in so many avenues and areas in your life that normal day-to-day to normal people, should be no problem that you show up for this, or it should be no issue that you can't afford that or choose not to spend money on that, whatever. Like in a journey like this, there's so many, like, I just think that, I don't know. Yeah,
you're trying to just say that people, like, you don't have to go up to everyone and be like, this is what I'm going through. Right? I've always found that, especially recently, like, people have brought it up and they'll say stuff about it. And, like, yeah, I'll talk to them if they bring it up. I mean, I don't sit there and have a 15-minute monologue that I tell our whole story.
Yeah.
But if they ask questions or if they say something about it, like, yeah, I will. Or although they'll say something like, oh, I have a friend that this and this, and it's just like, oh, like, that's cool, you know, like, and then that's it. I don't sit there, like you said, they don't have to know every single detail of our story. But if they ask a question, or if they say, like, hey, like, I know this person that's going through this, and you're just like, oh man, like, that sucks, you know. It's like, I get that. Like, I mean, it's, you don't have to throw yourself out there for everyone. I
do think that opening up about your journey is very different from, like, pouring out every little detail about your journey. I think that looks very different. I think
it, like, opens a door, doesn't doesn't word vomit everything.
Yeah, definitely. Something that's extremely hard, and if you maintain the ability to do this when you feel like it's right, silence. Silence can be one of the most powerful and impactful things in holding your truth and also maintaining the strength that you are carrying, even if it doesn't feel like much in these types of situations. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response, and that goes in just life lessons that we've learned in these 4 years. Is silence is very loud. I think what's good for us to remember, and also projecting onto you guys, is you don't have to defend yourself or explain your pain when someone weaponizes it. Silence is sometimes the most powerful response, even when you feel like they've knocked down your pride or knocked down your confidence, or
like walking away is huge.
I've
done that before.
Or
they'll make a comment, I'll just be like, I'm gonna get out of this conversation.
And I mean, on the flip side to all of this, finding safe people or a safe community or safe corner in the community makes all the difference. And this is our corner, and we hope that this corner feels welcoming to those who really need to be able to drop their veil. And in, like, we'll call it real life, I truly feel like we have a really cool group of people in our life that I feel like always intends to honor us, and they'll it's like that, I'll count to 3 before I say it. It's like those people, like, I feel like we have truly found people in our lives that they count to 3, and then if that doesn't sound right, they'll go back and they'll try a different approach. And I think that is one of the coolest, or I guess like most sentimental things that we've been able to find, and just be, like, open and welcomed with open arms.
I agree.
You know? So yeah, I think boundaries are really important. I feel like I've had to put up boundaries after boundaries after boundaries in my life. And sometimes boundaries, like making or setting boundaries, are easy. And then there's some that are extremely hard and extremely, like, scary to do. But it's usually those that are the most impactful, or the ones that are the hardest. You know, I feel like we've learned that, and we have been through numerous of those really, really hard boundaries that we've had to set. And those we've learned the most from.
If you take anything from this episode, let it be this: that at the end of the day, this is our story. No one else gets to twist it or use it against us.
And part of healing is reclaiming that. And we've had to reclaim our journey. And I feel like we're in another shift in our journey of reclaiming. This journey belongs to us. And we get to choose how it's told. And if there's people that, like, in the way or on, you know, the bleachers in the way back, whatever they're deciding to do with your journey, that's a them problem. That's a mirror. They need to look in the mirror and work on them. But when you glaze over that and you blur that part, which sometimes is really hard, but when you do get to that point where you can blur those things, that's how you will slowly gain that control back into your journey. It doesn't make the journey any easier. It doesn't make it any prettier or miraculously better.
It's just another speed bump.
There is nothing more invigorating than seeing or watching people stand firm in their truth. I gain so much strength from others in this walk, in this journey, who also stand firm in that. And I think that that's one of the coolest parts of this community, is when you do feel so alone, or you do feel so exhausted by what you're going through, or what's just straight up not happening, when you can find and like just go back into that corner where everyone can just, it's like you can sit in a circle and just be like, yeah, this sucks. Or I don't care what noise is going on outside, but the moment you can just lock in and bring yourself into that circle, I always get something out of just watching or listening to people stand firm in their truth, because that trickle effect, that domino effect, is so impactful.
Yeah.
If you've been through this, as we've gone through this episode, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I've been through that, or that feels like my life right now, or oh my gosh, now that I'm thinking about this, you're right, this happened, or that person did this, or whatever it is, please know that you are not alone. It is not your fault. There is nothing perfect about a journey like this. There's regrets, there's missteps, there's roadblocks, there's things that, you know, you wish you could change, or you wish you could. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, what has helped us keep on this path, even if we've kind of stepped off, one foot off every day, it feels like sometimes, but what has helped the most is like understanding and being so gentle with yourself, and honestly just constantly forgiving and finding forgiveness for yourself, because you are doing the best that you can at that moment, in that moment. And honestly, that's enough. And sometimes it just has to be. It just has to be.
We hope today's conversation helps you feel empowered to protect it and reclaim your story.
Before we close out of today's episode, we just want to thank you guys for tuning into one that can maybe feel a little bit more hard to talk about or uncomfortable to look inside. It's one of those types of topics that I feel like you push under the rug until you just can't anymore. And so that's something in our life that, you know, sometimes with episodes like this, we do feel a little nervous on how they're received, but ultimately we go back to our why, and our mission here is to drop the veil, meet with you guys where you are in your journey, and we will continue to do that as long as you guys will have us. So until next episode.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys. See you in the next one.
Bye, guys.